everyone, and welcome to the NCC Newsroom at the Newhouse School of Public Communications. I'm Emma Henses.
And I'm Mike Adzima. This is the 2 o'clock live stream of Democracy in Action, an annual Election Day series covering voting around Onondaga County, run by the Broadcast and Digital Journalism and Newspaper, Magazine, and Online departments.
Throughout the day, we'll bring you live coverage from dozens of polling places in central New York. First, we bring you what's new with voting this year. This big change in 2019 is early voting. The first ever New York State early elections took place from October 26th to November 3rd. Here in Onondaga County, close to 8,500 voters took part in early voting, over 4 times as many as the next highest county.
With it here in New York State, we have recognized that the more people can vote, the better, not trying to limit voting for individuals. It doesn't hurt to be able to exercise your right to vote.
Thanks to a voting pardon by Governor Cuomo before last year's election, more inmates here in New York have the right to vote. The governor issued an executive order granting voting access to convicted felons out of prison on parole. Previously, inmates had to wait until their parole period was over before they regained voting rights. We spoke with Emily Singletary, the co-founder and co-executive director of the organization Unchained, about it.
What I can tell you is that across the state of New York, there are about 35,000 people on parole at any given time, and so it's not a small number of people who are impacted by this.
Singletary also spoke about a new bill just proposed in the state legislature that could give potentially more inmates voting rights.
Bill was just introduced just like 5 days ago in the New York State legislature that would restore the right to vote for people in prison as well. So even people in prison on felony convictions would have the right to vote if this bill were to pass.
There is a fair amount of opposition to that bill, which is in its early stages. Organizations across the state are working to get it passed, but there is still plenty of obstacles for supporters of it to surpass.
Luckily for voters in Onondaga County, the voting check-in process just got a lot quicker. Polling places are implementing a new sign-in routine which allows voters to scan their driver's license on an iPad in order to check in. Poll workers will then use the iPad to verify the voter's address and specify which ballot they should receive. Onondaga County Elections Commissioner Michelle Sardo says the new process is meant to speed up voter check-in, while the rest of the voting process will stay the same. The iPad verification process was used throughout early voting last week.
For most people, Election Day is a day where people just go out and vote. But for Adelaide Sylvia, this day means a little bit more. Democracy in Action reporter Morgan Alexander explains the added bonus of today for Sylvia.
Adelaide Sylvia is a retired volunteer with the Solveig Geddes Ladies Auxiliary. She says that she's been voting for too many years to count, and being a part of Election Day is something that she is extremely passionate about.
That's what we are here. We're America, and that's the land of the free and the brave, and voting is a privilege, and I believe everyone should do that.
Sylvia says that before she casts her ballot, she is well educated on the candidates and what they bring to the table.
We read the newspapers, I go online, I go to political rallies, and now we did have the candidates come to our meeting and speak to us.
Sylvia takes voting beyond just being a civil duty. She uses Election Day as a way to help out local children in the area. Every year, the women of the auxiliary put on a bake sale during Election Day. The proceeds of the sale go to the children's programming in the village of Solveig. Sylvia says that this sale is extremely important to the community.
And we're very fortunate in this village to have a youth center. Many of the other areas in this community are not as fortunate to have a youth center that has all kinds of facilities for our youth from very young to the very old.
Sylvia says that they do a very big business on Election Day, but with presidential elections coming up next year, even more people will be stopping by than are today.
The Onondaga County Board of Elections says that over 30,000 voters were processed by noon today. But for some in Pompeii, there was an added bonus to casting their ballot.
Our Democracy in Action reporter Connor White says the Pompeii Town Hall's decades-long tradition was pretty sweet.
It's Election Day, and the Pompey Town Hall is just one of many polling stations across the country available to voters to exercise what some believe is a civic duty.
Just feel it's my right and responsibility to vote, so I get out and vote every time I have the opportunity to do that.
But voting isn't the only opportunity at this polling station. You'll also find Gail Moreland and a table full of baked goods. Many voters came here this morning to make their voices heard, but thanks to Gail, they also left with a sweet treat.
That has a little bit of everything in it. Marshmallows.
Moreland says she's been running the bake sale on Election Day in Pompey for about 20 years. The sales pitch is a simple one.
Some people say hi, just kind of chat. How are you? Do you mind the rain? You know, make some conversation.
After so many years, it's become a staple of Election Day here in Pompey.
It's a tradition in Pompey. I don't know if they do it anywhere else, but I love to pick up some baked goods after I vote.
But even if it's tradition, Moreland knows that voting is the most important part of the day.
People are voting because there's something going on and they want to speak to it.
While voters make their political voices heard, those with a sweet tooth also vote at Moreland's table. And there's a clear winner.
Pies always go. People, people that don't like to bake like to buy the pies.
The proceeds help raise funds for the Pompey Historical Society, which supports a museum celebrating the town's history. Members of the society are responsible for the baking.
And there were a lot of bakers. When you come from the country, there were a lot of bakers.
While the polls won't close till 9 p.m., most years the goods are gone by noon. For Democracy in Action, I'm Connor White.
Thanks, Connor. There are some new places to vote this year in Onondaga County. People can now vote in 3 new places. The first is Dr. Edwin Weeks Jr. Elementary School at 710 Hawley Avenue. This location is in the 6th District. The other 2 new polling sites are in the town of Camillus. They are St. Michael's Lutheran Church on West Genesee Street and Sojourn Free Methodist Church on Onondaga Road. Polls are open statewide tonight until 9 p.m.
The rain is coming down, but voters are still coming out to cast their ballots, even if it means they have to walk. Democracy in Action's Gabrielle Riles is live at the Transconfiguration Catholic Church in Syracuse with more. Gabrielle?
It is 48 degrees outside and the rain is starting to pour down. Now, people are slowly but surely coming in to cast their vote. It is so important to some people that they are choosing to walk here to cast their vote. Inside the basement of the church, there are 6 booths for people to come in and cast their vote. One woman from New York City says it's her first time voting in Syracuse and that she did a 10-minute walk here with her grandson from her house to make sure she casted in her vote.
It's quiet, it's comfortable. They have the new the iPads they have. It's just totally different, and I felt very comfortable, and it was fast. I haven't been here 20 minutes.
Told by one of the workers here that it is always slow traffic in here to come in and cast your vote. For more information, visit our website, dia-cny.syr.edu. Back to you in the studio.
That's all for this episode of Democracy in Action. From all of us at the Newhouse School, I'm Emma Henzis.
And I'm Mike Azima. Make sure to stick with us for updates from the polls at 4, 6, and 8 o'clock tonight.